a brief intro. We'll make this really fun and casual. I'm Erin. I'm the Sustainable Food Programs Coordinator at UC Merced. And this week is National Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week. And we are observing that by hosting some workshops and panels and some other stuff on campus at UC Merced. And so this is going to be a workshop, interactive workshop on how to connect better with people, how to better empathize with people. And it'll be in a joyful, happy way, because even though it is Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week, and those are heavy subjects, we want to also learn how to laugh a little bit. And after this, so this is being recorded, so I'll put this on YouTube, but I'm also going to send out an update email to everyone that registered, and that will include some of the links we talked about. So James has apparently, I think, put his or he will, yeah. So I'll put his LinkedIn email as well as the registration for the other panels this week. We've got some with some folks from various films about senior hunger and then just hunger in general. So if you want to tune into those, that would be awesome. And I'm done pitching now, so I'll go ahead and give it away to James, who can take the reins and do his brief little intro. And I believe I'm going to say this correctly, crossing my fingers, James Wasilewski. Cool.
That works. I could have said no, but I'm going to be yes and again. But no, that's absolutely correct.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Erin, for reaching out to me as well. And it's really interesting. I'm over here on the East Coast, right? So it's dark outside and it's cold. It's like 44 degrees right now. It's chilly. So anyway, so let me tell you a little bit more about me just real quick, and then we'll get into things, because I was planning on like a 30-minute, maybe we'll do like a 45-minute kind of like thing, talking about really just doing some improv games, having fun, and then layering it with empathy and connectivity and listening. And of course, I'll make sure my contact information is available externally in case anybody wants to talk about improv or whatever else. So me in a very small nutshell, not being trapped in one like Austin Powers. So basically my professional experience, I've been working in I was at a banking company for about a year in a credit card subsidiary of Circuit City. Yep, that's where Richmond, it was based in Richmond. But I've been in higher education for over 20 years. I was in higher education, student recruitment, strategic enrollment management for the beginning of my career. And I thought that was what I was going to do. Then things happened with the endowments because the economy crashed in 2008. And I've been in fundraising since. I do fundraising. I've done it for cancer research. I do it for alumni. I do it for programs, I do it for faculty. I do it for research. And I've been doing it for quite a while. And I'm still at a university here in Richmond. On the improv side, I've been doing improv for well over half my life. I started when I was in high school and I didn't even know what Whose Line Is It Anyway with the British version with Clive Cliverson. I was like, oh, this is really fun to watch. I started doing it in college professionally, started getting paid when I was in college and doing a couple troops. I've done it here, I've done it in Orlando. SAT Comedy Lab is where I did a little bit of my training, where Wayne Brady trained, and a few others as well. And then I am now doing things with comedy sports. And I've been doing certain things with comedy sports for a decade plus. Here in Richmond, and I'm currently the board president of the nonprofit here in Richmond. And the applied improv side, which we're not going to talk about a lot tonight, but we can touch on it, which is cool because we're going to do the improv side, the play side, is really where we kind of take this content and this topic, and then I kind of support it with improv. And I usually don't tell people, come to this because it's an improv thing, because people don't come to improv things unless they're comfortable with doing it. And then all of a sudden I surprise them when they show up, and we're going to do these participatory exercises. But that's a little bit more about me in a very quick way. So I make promises in front of every single group that I'm in front of, and there are three of them. One, you'll discover something about yourself, someone else, or an organization, or an organization you're involved with or work with or for. Two, participate, right? Everyone's going to have a chance to participate in just a moment, and of course, throughout the entirety of the evening or through this session. And then the third is to have fun, to make sure you're laughing, playing with joy, having humor, and of course, having a relational connection to something that you learned with a positive or humorous moment is easier to recall or recollect because it's associated as a positive memory, scientifically proven. So that's a great thing to have. And those are the promises that I make. So the first thing I want to do to check in with everybody is honestly one word check-in. So in the chat, everyone give me one word that describes how are you doing today, or how was your weekend? Alive. That's a good thing. Productive, amazing. I got my booster shot on Friday, so I'm feeling grateful for being past that moment. Blessed, cold, flow. Nice. Marvelous, tired. Rejuvenated. Nice. And Ian. Ooh, that's present tense. You, me. Okay, us. Very cool. I do ask if you participate and we say on camera, that we'll all be on camera together. So we can all kind of see faces or can at least hear if you have the ability to do so. And if you choose not to participate, if we do a debrief or talk about an activity, I would like for you to also don't be critical of how others played the game if you did not play it. So there's some rules that I'm going to kind of lay down. But I want us to have fun together, right? So in the spirit of improv, and how many of us know what improv is here in the group? By show of hands, emoticons, emojis, chat, all of the resources. So I got a few of you here. So does anybody want to tell me how improv could potentially connect through empathy?
I mean, I can talk on that a little bit if that's okay.
Sure, Derek, go ahead.
I have learned through like when I started improv probably about 5 years ago, and the whole direction shifted during the pandemic. I find that people really latched onto each other when they're improvising, because in the early days of improvising, it's hard to have a filter, so you're really vulnerable. And it really opens you up. And even as a more experienced improviser, not saying I'm amazing, but I've learned that it allows me to get past my shyness and really open up and communicate, which is a really awesome thing.
Very cool.
I've seen a lot of people do that too. Thank you.
Yeah, it definitely exposes that vulnerability. Anybody else? Yeah, Jason, I see your hand.
I can attest to kind of what Derek had said. I was in, like, especially as it relates to connection, about 8-9 months ago, was it? June, March, May, somewhere in there. I was pretty deep in depression and learning how to live alone while going through quarantine. I found Derek's and Trent's the other guy that he founded the improv group with, which made it possible for me to find Aaron and Elliot. And in August, I was literally in this group for 2 months, and these guys were so welcoming. And like Derek said, you're able to be vulnerable and safe and feel trusting of others. I was so hooked on these guys. I flew out there at the end of August and I hung out with those guys. And now I'm probably going to move there. That's how connected I am with my improv family. So it has been a good place to open up.
That's really cool. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, improvisation really allows us to, that's one thing I try to tell any of my students, whether they're in middle school, high school, or adults. It's like, it's a safe space and we need to connect it. And one of the big things about, especially this session, oh, Aaron, you have a comment?
You just said safe space, and would it be, we could take a vote on this. Would you all like me to stop recording so it is a safer space? I certainly can.
I'm comfortable with keeping it recording.
I'm fine with recording.
Yeah. I think it would be helpful if after the session, you could send to all of us the link to the recording so we can review it if need be.
Okay.
Because with my brain injury, it's a bit more difficult to access memories.
Right, and that's why I was thinking of recording it. Plus, that's just what we generally do. I just wanted to make sure that it was comfortable for everyone.
And thank you for that.
Sorry, proceed.
Yeah. Well, and safe space, speaking of, just all of the DEIA opportunities, whether it be pronouns, acceptance, inclusivity, accessibility, in all of the ways. You know, we want to make sure that this is a safe space. And that's, you know, that's kind of what an improv is usually when I do a workshop. And it's like we're in a circle, right? And we're not kind of like relating and short window. It's like, hey, James Wasilewski, he, him, his. And then I'll kind of continue to talk about mine, and we'll all go around the circle and like give a unique fact about ourselves. So it's a great thing to kind of keep that safe space and vulnerability aspect open. But I think that's kind of like one thing that kind of puts us in this unique family of improv, right? Especially if you're an improviser or you have the experience of doing it. We improvise every single day. But when it relates to what we're talking about today, with whether it be empathy or sympathy, there's some key moments, and then we'll get into some warm up, and then we'll get into some gameplay. And I don't want to end abruptly, but I want to make sure that we have fun doing things, right? So, you know, we want to make sure that we're looking at how to connect, and through that connection is collaboration and support. I know before I perform in any show for the past 20 years, somebody has told me, I've got your back, right? Where you don't have to be afraid to fail. You don't have to be afraid to make a mistake because somebody's going to hold you up if you fall, or celebrate your failure. Or they're going to help you through it, right? They're going to try to pick you back up. So that got your back mentality. The yes and, this acceptance and the building, and you're building together as well. The fact that everything is a gift. What you have to offer from your own experiences, your own reality, other people's realities, the environment that you've established, the environments that you've experienced, everything is a gift. And you just have to figure out how to use it, and when you want to use it, right? And when you want to stock it away and use it later. Everything is a gift. And in improv, what's one of the things that you could potentially use to evoke anything is emotion. And emotions are directly connected to any of this. The feeling, it's a type of feeling that you want to create. It's a feeling that you want to be present and in the moment when you're playing, and be spontaneous and be able to adapt and adopt that momentum and that emotion. It's kind of like the book, Truth in Comedy. It's real. You know, the funniest things, but also the truest things that we find humor in or connected to are actually things that are really happening, that are in reality. So there's honesty in reality. And we want to make sure there's positive impact, and we approach with joy, with humor, and we always have good intentions. I think that's one thing that I know that I have the connection I've had walking into any room where we're all doing improv, right? I know that everybody's intentions are good. No one's trying to no one's trying to blindside me. No one's trying to show me up. No one's trying to steal a spotlight. Nobody's trying to make me look bad. The intentions are all good. And that's, you know, the mentality to kind of carry forward if you're trying to work in this kind of this empathetic, sympathetic, authentic, genuine space of, you know, that saying, all boats rise with the tide. So why can't we do that for every group that we're with, right? So we have the ability to do that. So let's contribute to it instead of taking away from it, right? So we did our 1 year reward check-in. So now we're just going to do some fun warm-up, connecting things and listening things. Ooh, this makes me excited. So thank you, Eric. So let's go ahead and let's do a warm-up game called Anybody Who. All right. Has anybody played this already? If you haven't played it, it's all good. I'll explain it, because the virtual space has opened up so many opportunities for games you can't play on a stage. And it's also made me wonder how I can play this on a stage. So let's go ahead, and for anyone who, since we do have a smaller group, so you can stay off your camera, you can stay on your camera for this. Of course, if you're able to come on your camera, I would love to see your wonderful faces, as we all would. So I'm going to start, okay? And I want all of you to turn your cameras off, okay? I'm going to say a phrase, anyone who, something, and it's something that actually is true about me. If that also relates to you, I want you to turn your camera on. The first or second or third person, or somebody who hasn't gone yet, if I see you turn your camera on, I'm going to ask you to go, and then we'll all turn our cameras off. That person will say, anyone who blank, right? And then repeat the process over and over. So my first anyone is anyone who has children. All right, Melanie, it's on you.
Melanie, you're muted.
You're on mute.
Sorry. Anyone who's worked with special ed.
Lee. Let's see. Elementary school teacher for 30 years. And a couple of those years I had to deal with students who came into my class, and then we needed to work with them. So it was flexible. We had to be flexible. So the next one is, who got in a situation where they had to be flexible?
And the first person you saw.
Oh, Derek.
Let's see. Anyone who loves singing in public. Anyone who loves singing in public. Elliot was the first camera I saw go on.
All right. And James, do I explain why or just continue with anyone who?
You can if you choose to. I didn't ask you
Oh.
to do that. You
Okay.
can if you want, but you could just go to next anyone who.
Okay. Anyone who plays a wind instrument or has played in the past? No one? Okay. Oh, Jason.
Played trumpet and clarinet in high school. Okay. Anyone who has created something from an idea organically in their own brains, like made a physical thing from an idea. Okay, Aaron gets this one.
Anyone who loves food puns.
That was unfair.
I just love puns in general.
Mhm.
How about James?
Sure. So anyone who has ever been to the East Coast. Derek.
Anyone who has been to Italy. Elliot.
Anyone who wears a size 10 shoe? I don't know. Anyone who enjoys drinking water over a pop? I saw James first.
People who like to work out.
I was gonna say that was universally unliked there for a second.
It was. I was like, ouch.
I was gonna respond and say, it's not really that I like the process of working out, but I do like the end result of working out, improving myself. But I saw Aaron's video go on first.
Oh, it's all good. So Aaron and Elliot, both of you have had an opportunity to go. So I'm going to go and pass the baton to somebody who has not been able to go. So Susan, I saw you up last time. I'm going to give you the torch.
Susan, you're muted.
Yeah, my brain's fuzzy. Anyone who is a foodie. Priya.
Thank you. Anyone likes nature? Derek?
Thank you. Anyone who has seen a show at the Improv Olympic? All
Jealous.
right.
All right,
Mhm.
so UCB before they all shut down, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So yay, applause. Everybody come back up again. So that's anyone who. What a great way to learn more about the people that you're with in a very easy, connecting, wonderful way, right? It's just simple little things. So it's like, wow, I have this in common with someone. If we were in person, there's also an activity called 3 Things in Common. It's like speed dating. You have to find 3 things you have in common that aren't like really easy, like we both have brown hair or, that kind of thing. It's like we both love bacon and we both love mystery novels, so things like that. It's what a really cool way to reveal and connect, right? Because you are able to connect with people on other levels and in other ways. And then you can also start to relate to them in other ways too, and maybe understand where they're coming from. And I'm not going to go down the whole emotional intelligence route, which I could do, but that takes too much time. But you want to be able to connect with people and understand where they're coming from, right? And they may not be coming from the exact same place. In order to experience the same emotions, the same type of opportunities that you have, right? And so that's how you're able to discover in a very simple, non-complex way. I can send Aaron a couple other things that we could do as like kind of easy warm-up activities if you're trying to connect with someone as kind of a follow-up opportunity. Because there's like a 1-minute story. Everyone goes around and tells a 1-minute story about their life. Very quickly. And, without not knowing how many people are going to be here tonight, I was like, let me plan all these activities. So it's like, yeah, I definitely have like a 3-hour session here. But like, let's, 1-minute story of your life, or, hey, grab something near your desk and this is why this is important to me. And then, a quick 1-minute dialogue about why this notepad describes my life, and what a great way to improvise and understand and do those types of things. And when I'm done, I pass this on through the camera virtually to somebody else, and then they take back their object, right? What a really cool, surreal way of how that object changes. And then it's really everybody's object, but it only fits the person's whose hands it's in, right? So it can tell their story. What a great way, an introspective and reflective way of understanding somebody's perspective, including the words they choose to use. So let's play a game or two to connect, right, and listen. So everybody has played maybe Yes and before. Yeah. Which version, I wonder? I don't know, because in the world of improv, one game is called 1,000 things. It's like, I'm going to call this, I don't know, telephone, or I'm going to call this water bottle. You say yes and I say and. It's like it's called this. So we'll do the game of yes and, just to kind of be reflective and let other people who may want to see this and understand the connectivity of it. So I'll start. Why not? The first round, right? And we're going to go in a particular order, right? So let me go and establish that order, because we only have a certain number of people, all right? So make sure you know what number you are, okay? Because I can't rename myself, but make sure you know what number you are, okay? So let's do this. Hey, Melanie, can you hear me? Just making sure Melanie's there or not, because I don't want to leave her out. Okay, I don't have a response.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm here. Sorry, I'm at work right now.
Oh, it's all good. Are you able to participate?
Yes, to a degree,
Sweet.
yes.
Awesome. So let me go ahead and assign numbers. Aaron, you are 1. Elliot, you are 2. Jason, you are 3. Lee, you are 4. Derek, you are 5. Priya, you are 6. Susan, you are 7. Melanie, you are 8. And I will be 9.
Great.
All right, so I'm going to start with an initial line of dialogue. Every following line of dialogue will start with the words, let's say, no. Okay, so I'll start with initial line of dialogue that's just neutral. And then every following line will start with no. And we are planning a party. Okay, we are planning a party. So here we go. We are planning a party.
No way, I'm so excited.
No way. We've got to have karaoke there.
No, we don't need karaoke. What we need are clowns.
We need dancers. Let's have some movement.
No amount of movement will be enough for this party.
Know who to invite.
Melanie.
No way, I can't come.
No, I'm having second doubts about this party.
Right.
No, you have to come.
No way, not if he's having doubts about the party altogether.
No, that other guy's not going to be there. You don't have to even interact with him. This will be fine. We'll all be welcome. It'll be great.
All right, let me just end it there. Not to cut you off, Lee, but this is feeling pretty negative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel pretty much in the ditches with it, and we all probably could, because no has that effect, right?
Yeah.
Personal challenge to everybody: count how many times you say no versus how many times you say yes in a given day. You'd be
No.
shocked. You'd be shocked.
I'm not going to do it.
Nope.
I'm
never,
challenging
nope.
you to do it so you can change your perspective and frame of mind, right?
Yes, and it should be interesting.
Yes, it should be. So the next round we're going to keep the same order. Okay, same order. And I'll start again. Actually, Aaron, you can start. You can start, and we'll say same number order. Okay. Except this time we're going to have that neutral dialogue Aaron's going to use, and then we're going to follow up with yes, but. All right. Still planning a party.
James,
Yeah, Elliot.
Melanie just typed out, and it reads, I have no idea when to come in because I'm on my phone and don't know who's before me. Sorry for my delaying.
Good point.
Oh, you're good. Susan's right before you,
Okay.
or I can give you a heads up.
Thank you. Yeah, just do something. No, so I know.
Yeah, sure. I'll just say, Melanie, go. There we go. All right, is that good?
Mhm.
All right, Aaron, kick us off. Remember, this is yes but round.
Got it. I'm going to order the food tonight, I think, for it.
Yes, but make sure it's right before midnight so we get the sale.
Yeah, because you don't ever feed them after midnight or they grow, multiplying, all kinds of stuff.
Oh, yes, but I like some that's had some taste.
Yes, but taste isn't important. We're not going to eat them.
Rita, you're back.
Yes. Oh, sorry. Yes, but I like some flavor in it.
Yes, but that's too late for me to eat.
All right, Melanie, you're on the camera, but it's your go time.
Yes, but please make sure that it is gastric bypass. Okay.
Yes, but we need to make sure it accommodates everyone.
Yes, but I have to order it tonight. Now I have no idea what to order because of all these restrictions.
Yes, but with us all here speaking to you right now, you now understand what our restrictions are.
All
Yeah,
right,
and
Jason,
as-
I'm going to cut you off at the
All right.
log Y and, restricted.
I wasn't going to keep that one going.
No, not that specifically, but just, but like against, we're like wallowing in this filth of negativity, right? This like sewer, it's horrible ditch. Because yes, but, it's acknowledging, yeah, I hear you, but I have my own ideas. I have my own intentions. I have my own preconceived notions, which how many of us typically have? Do none of us have preconceived notions when we walk into a conversation or observe somebody from afar? Like, I'm going to stereotype you before I even understand you.
Yeah,
Do it.
I do
Let's
feel
call it,
that
it's unconscious bias. But
yeah, I do feel that I do it much less since I've been participating in Derek's improv group. It's been very helpful.
that's awesome. Yeah, unconscious bias training, especially in improv lens, is really interesting, where you start telling your own story and the experiences that you live, not the experiences of others, especially when you're doing character work. be true to your characters, right? And not offensive to characters kind of thing. I used to have a lot of great characters that got a lot of great laughs. Yeah, they were great characters 10 years ago. And I'm pretty upset at myself for not being aware enough about that. So I don't use them anymore ever because they're horrible to use and I won't use them. I mean, they were offensive. They were offensive. But I've changed my mentality, right? Become aware, become an advocate, become, an ally to the practice and the craft of what we're doing. Especially if you're applying this to what you're doing in the role of being empathetic and being sympathetic to a cause, you can never truly put yourself in somebody else's shoes that you've never worn. So you have to seek to understand, and you still will never entirely understand, but being there is a big part and a big step in it. And that works for improv as well as for a lot of other spaces. So the last round we're going to do is the yes and part. Those that know improv know this is a good one, but we'll see how fun this can get. We're planning a party again. Elliot, I'll let you kick it off, same order. Okay. Melanie, I'll still give you a heads up. So go and kick it off. Every following sentence has yes and.
Oh, guys, I'm so excited. I'm going to be throwing a party tonight.
Yeah, and we're going to have drinks and we're going to make a lot of fun laughter. It's going to be amazing.
Me?
4 or 5.
It was Lee.
3. Yeah.
I think it becomes me then. I didn't realize Lee left. Yes, and we can have name tags at the door. Someone going to put their name and their pronouns. It'll be great.
Priya.
Okay. Yeah, I want some music in there for the party.
Yes, and we'll get to meet a lot of new people.
Yes, and I will be able to socialize finally since I've been homeless in my motorhome for the past 4 months.
Yes. And it would be just wonderful to have everyone in one place at one time.
Yes, and I'm gonna wear my new dress, and my daughter's gonna wear her matching new dress.
Yes, and we can all be friends at this party. Yes, indeed.
All right, let me cut that off in the interest of violating any Disney copyrights. It was really close. It was really close. But hey, I totally get it. So did yes and feel different than no or yes but? Why?
Well, first it builds and you're not disputing something.
Mhm.
You're accepting and building, regardless of whatever you had in your mind. You carry from the previous, so you're listening to the other person more.
Cool. Thank you, Jason. Derek, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I mean, the yes and of improv means like accepting a reality and adding to it. So it really just opens up the world of the scene when you yes and somebody. Anything is possible. And it's really exciting because I mean anything can happen. So it's super fun.
Great. Aaron, I saw your hand up.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. I had way more examples in my head of what I could yes and. When I was trying to like yes but or no, I was like, I don't know what else to say. So there's more opportunity for yes and.
Sure is. Elliot, how about you?
Yes, I most certainly do think that the yes and is the way to go because it shares with whoever you're speaking with that you care about their own opinion and that you're not trying to shove your opinion down their throat to negate their thought process.
I agree with you. Jason.
It's also the other thought I had was your yes and sets up the next person. It doesn't limit them with a refusion or with a refute. It's a setup to make your partner looks good doing that.
Right. When we're knowing and yes butting, it's called bulldozing or blocking. That's just bad. For a lot of reasons, because you stall things. Sometimes the best idea, the best connecting point is the 5th idea down. There's an activity that I wrote down. It's like, hey, let me jot all these things down called first letter, last letter, right? I don't know if any of you ever played it. But I'll tell you what it is very briefly, and then I can connect you to afterwards and tell you a little bit more about it. It's a great listening activity where basically we have partners, and I would say a sentence, and then my partner has to start their sentence with the last letter of my sentence. And then that's how the conversation and dialogue goes back and forth. I cannot form a thought in my head prior to them finishing their sentence, which is what we always do. As soon as you say a word and I form a thought in my head, I have finished listening to you. And if you have any conversations with anybody and you're really trying to connect and be empathetic, you can't truly connect unless you actually listen. So in first letter, last letter is mind destroying as that activity is for most people, because you also start being a good partner. You don't end all of your sentences with S or Z or X or Y or whatever else it is too. You start being a good partner, and there's other, of course, layers to it. But the biggest piece is don't form a thought in your head about whatever they're thinking, they're doing. Let them finish and let them say their piece and share their perspective, right? So you can truly, fully connect and engage. In the yes and spirit and sense, it's that acceptance, it's that building, it's the progression, it's the fact that no matter what you say will not be rejected. So if you are in a yes and mentality or meeting or group or conversation, and it's kind of like there's this activity that I've done before that's called pop quiz. And the first thing I tell the entire group is no answers are wrong. So I'll ask questions. What year did aliens invade the earth? What type of tea is my favorite? Which pickle is the best? Anybody can say anything and nothing is wrong. And how much more liberating was it to know that nothing you said was wrong, right? So it's like, if you feel like you're in a space like that where everything you can say is supported and it's not wrong, and there's a difference between saying what's not wrong and what's right. Not wrong is just a different way of framing it. It's a different conversation that you have to connect. So I'm already at my time. Do we have time to play one more quick game, Erin? Or are you off to another activity?
All the time in the world. Yes, and all the time in the world.
I don't know if we're doing this right now, or if this is. Are you genuinely? You're not rushing off.
I'm not rushing off.
Okay.
No.
If you have to head out,
Yeah.
head out. We'll do one more quick connecting activity. But before I do that, let me share my LinkedIn for anybody that needs to go. Because I do stuff through Haha to Aha, also the unconventional fundraiser, and I do improv workshops too. I've done them in national workshops, so they're fun to do. A lot of different ones too. I was like, I didn't know I could do a workshop about that. I did it. So we're gonna do this one called. We'll do. What I'm gonna do. I'll do Red Ball. Did you all play Red Ball?
Probably by a different name.
Maybe by a
They
different.
have. There's a good
I don't
activity
know.
that
I think
or-
describe it first.
Or you on categories. I mean, there's a ton of different games. So Red Ball essentially is I have a red ball. If there's acknowledgement, okay, so I have a red ball, and then I'll say Jason red ball, and you'll say red ball, thank you.
Okay. Red ball, thank you.
And I'll pass it. And now you
Okay.
have the red ball.
All right.
And now you keep passing that by saying someone else's, like the name of the object, the other person's name. The person acknowledges it and says thank you, then you pass.
And I can change the object from there.
Keep it as a red ball.
It's always a red ball. So it's just a matter of passing a red ball to different people.
That is absolutely correct.
Oh, okay. That's a simple
as
game.
that.
So Elliot, I have a red ball. There you go.
Thank you, James, for the red ball. I appreciate it. Derek, here's a red ball.
Thank you for the red ball, Elliot. I have a red
Hey, Derek,
ball.
let me call a quick timeout. Believe you me, let's make sure it stays as name, red ball object, and then object, and then thank you. Trust me, you'll thank me for it.
So wait, I'm sorry. So red
Derek,
ball.
if I have the red ball,
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I say, Derek, red ball. You'll say red ball, thank you.
Oh, simply that. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Yep.
Red ball, thank you.
Trust me.
Thank you. Susan, I have the red ball.
Red ball, thank you. Aaron, red ball.
Red ball, thank you. Melanie, red ball.
Aaron, red ball, thank you. And I have no clue who to pass it to because I can't see everybody.
You just always pass it to me or Jason.
Yeah.
Okay. James, red ball.
Red ball, thank you. All right, cool. So everybody got that down? The red ball, name, red ball, thank you. And you can't pass it until they say red ball, thank you. All right. It's like permission. I'm already giving you kind of a glimpse of the insight. That's the permission, right? That's the connecting part. Because I have a red ball and I have an orange triangle. So I've just added a shape to the mix. So here we go, and let's see how Zoom likes it. Yes, Aaron.
I have bad hearing. Orange what?
Orange triangle,
Oh,
red ball.
got it.
Let's hope Zoom microphone likes how we're talking over each other. So we're going to see how this works. So we're going to do, hey, Susan, red ball.
Red ball, thank you. Derek, red ball.
Red ball, thank you.
Aaron, orange triangle.
Orange triangle, thank you. Jason, orange triangle.
Elliot, red ball.
Orange triangle, thank you.
Red ball, thank you. Jason, red ball.
Red ball, thank you. I'm just gonna leave with my toys now. Bye. Melanie, orange triangle.
No. Orange triangle, thank you. And G Willikers. Susan, orange triangle.
Derek, red ball.
Red ball, thank you.
Orange triangle, thank you. Derek, orange triangle.
James, red ball.
Red ball, thank you.
Orange ball, thank you.
Triangle.
Orange triangle. Orange triangle, thank you.
Elliot, red ball.
Red ball, thank you.
Melanie, orange triangle.
Derek, red ball.
Orange triangle, thank you.
Red ball, thank you.
Aaron, orange triangle.
Orange triangle, thank you.
Jason, red ball.
Red ball, thank you.
Susan, orange triangle.
James, red ball.
Red ball, thank you.
Orange triangle, thank you.
All right, Susan, hold that
Jason.
for just a second. I'm adding a blue square to the mix.
I quit.
Derek,
My
red
brain's
ball.
too old.
Red ball, thank you.
Jason, blue square.
Blue square,
Aaron,
thank
red
you.
ball.
Red ball, thank you.
Elliot,
Orange
blue
triangle.
square.
Blue
Melanie.
square, thank you.
Elliot, red
Aaron,
ball.
I was gonna say, Aaron, blue triangle, blue square. Sorry.
Blue square, thank you. Red ball, Elliot. No, yeah. Red ball.
Red ball, thank you. Jason, red ball.
Red ball, thank you.
Rest of the triangle. Melanie. Blue triangle. No,
Orange.
Not me. I passed it to Susan.
I have a blue square. I don't know. Pretending I'm a blue square. Derek, blue square.
Blue square, thank you. James, blue square.
Melanie, red ball. Melanie,
Blue
red
square,
ball.
thank you.
Red ball, thank you. Elliot, red ball.
Susan,
Red ball, thank you.
Susan, blue square.
James, red ball.
Red ball, thank you.
Blue square, thank you. Blue square.
Jason.
Jason, blue square.
Blue square, thank you.
Yeah. Hey, Jason.
Yeah.
You want my red ball?
Sure, but where the hell did the orange triangle go? Red
I
ball
think the
thing.
orange triangle
Yeah, I know.
pops.
All right, so I'll call it there. I'll call it
I
there.
gave it to somebody, but I don't remember who I gave it to.
I might have broke it.
We could continue to do this for a long time. This is a lot different in person, right? Because you have the ability to make eye contact. There's a game called You also, or categories, where like you point at people, and that's an in-person activity. And further explanation, it's an awesome connecting activity though. So tell me about this game. Yeah, Aaron.
Susan has a question.
Oh yeah, go Susan, please. Thank you.
So I wanted to back up to the yes, but, and the yes,
Sure.
and. It seems to me that I work with a lot of groups where we're looking specifically at barriers and gaps, particularly barriers.
Mhm.
So it seems that the yes, if we have a vision in mind for where we want to be, the yes and is perfect for us. But if we're looking for where those barriers are or those gaps, then the yes, but can be very, very useful. Does that make sense to anybody else?
It makes sense to me.
It
'Cause
does. It does. Let me reframe it for you. Okay. Yes, but is negative because it contradicts. It's like the but part. Like, and yes, that part exists. But if you start dissecting it and tearing it apart and said, well, how do we make it a yes and? Or how do we make it a part a yes and? Or how do we make it just a not yet? I work in the world of fundraising professionally. And when people say no, and I know when it's a hard no, right? And I'm okay with hearing it because I know where else to focus my energy. And that's a great relief because I'm not wasting my time anymore, right? But also it's like, maybe it's just not yet, not right now. We don't have the resources. Here's what we could do. Here's what we can do in the meantime. So think about it like a mind map, right? If you hit like these little circles and they start getting these breakoffs and you have like, but this is a yes part and this one doesn't work. What are the three other ones that do? Right? It's like the ticker toy. Does everybody know what a mind map is? It's like you have a bubble and then you have an idea, right? You have this idea. And then you have like this idea generates this idea, this idea, this idea, this idea, and they all become circles. And then each circle generates more ideas. What a great idea generation tool. And may not all work out, but sometimes the best idea is like 4 deep or 5 or 6 deep. And sometimes you never get there because people don't yes and that first circle. So sometimes you might get that yes, but initially, but there's like always other options and you don't have one force driving you in this one direction. So it always depends on how you look at it. The resources don't let us do this. What do they let us do? And I think allowing people to be imaginative, to continue to build instead of halting progression and connection, and letting somebody be an authoritarian or a dictator in certain meetings or ways of style of leadership is also different too. It's being very open-minded. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's a practice, and it's like anything else. It takes 30 days to develop a habit, good or bad. And practice doesn't make perfect, but practice makes it something that becomes more naturally. And it becomes weird when you don't do it. The most uncomfortable feeling is growth. And the only way to grow is to be uncomfortable. So thank you for bringing that up. I'm sorry if I didn't see your hand earlier. A couple things about Red Ball, and I was going to do more of a debrief, but I'll do kind of like a talky part, and then you all can contribute. How about that? Just for time's sake, because I do know what time it is. This one, we couldn't really connect with eye contact, right? Physicality made it not possible, but this is not going away. Hybrid's not going away in order for people to connect in different ways. Doing improv online, and I started last April doing it for comedy sports, and then did stuff with my long form troupe. It was weird not getting laughs, like reading the chat, following along with that stuff or whatever. Like it was weird, but you learn how to adapt, right? You learn how to adapt to it. And with this, I was observing you all brought some great things to light. Zoom, microphone, that kind of thing. You know, in this game, it's about listening. In Red Ball, you don't pass the Red Ball until you get acknowledgement. Like, I am listening to you. Like, I saw red ball. Yeah, red ball. I hear you. Versus I'm paying attention over here or to somebody else, or I hear orange triangle or blue square. Like, I hear your side of the conversation, right? I acknowledge what you said. You said red ball to me. I said red ball back to you. And you're good to me. Thank you for giving me this message, this gift, right? And I heard what you said to me. And that's the only thing I heard, regardless of the chaos that's going on around it. So you had to be patient. If I wanted to pass the red ball to you, Jason, and you had two other people passing you objects, I simply waited for you to be available for me to pass it to you. Patience. Sometimes that's what it requires, and sometimes that's what we lack. And that also takes practice. I am not a patient person. I am a thinker. When it comes to Myers-Briggs tests, and I'm very spontaneous because of my background in improv, and my children have helped me build patience. I am still very impatient most of the time. However, in activities like this, I know that I have to wait to receive my message. I have to wait for permission to do whatever I need to do, right? Big listening opportunity. I'm still making eye contact with most of you. You may not know it, but I am making eye contact with most of you. I might be looking up here to look at my agenda every now and then, or looking at the camera specifically. But I am actually, the reason I'm looking around my screen here is because I'm literally making eye contact with all of you. And you can feel it, right? I hope you can, because I'm trying to connect in another way. And hopefully you may not know entirely. But I really like the fact that you all chose to wait and be patient with those connectivity moments, because that's what you need to do when you're talking to other people. In order to truly connect, you need to exhibit patience, right? You need to have that entire feeling of, I am here with you. I'm here in the moment. I am present. I am being present, and I'm being in the moment. So those are just like a few of the things. Of the 100 things that I wrote down for today that was supposed to be over 27 minutes ago. But I do want to end on this last thing. I did share my LinkedIn in the profile. I connected with Erin. She has additional connected information for me if you're interested at all. But I do want to end every session with two things. The first thing is, and I liked, I learned, or what if? I want to know one of those three things, what you liked, or what you learned, or what if a possibility. You can share it out loud since we have a small group, or if you like, you can share it in the chat. But let's do I liked, I learned, a what if moment. Since we have a small group, and if you choose not to participate, that's cool. We'll just say pass, but I will give it to somebody. Anybody want to go first or volunteer? Jason, saw your hand first.
I learned 2 new games that I hadn't played in that style. The yes and was interesting that it was built from a no to a but to an and. I thought that was very interesting. I didn't quite get that at first, but that's what I learned.
Cool, thank you. Elliot.
Similar to Jason's enjoyment with how I went from but and, or how I went from no to but to and. I feel that it really opened up my eyes to how important it is to say, yes, and I accept it, your thoughts and ideas, and building on that.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Mhm. I also shared the thanks to you in the chat.
I saw. Thank you.
Certainly.
Derek.
It was I learned, and what was the last part?
You know, it could either be a what if, or a what if, or I wish, or a how about. There's like 100 variations.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I liked some of the games. I'll agree with Jason. Anybody who I had played that early on, I think in like April of 2020, and I forgot, and it's a really good warm-up. It's just a wonderful warm-up of getting people to kind of open up and feel comfortable and camaraderie in a space. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was great. I learned, I'm not sure how much I learned because of that, I will say I enjoyed more. What I got out of this was learning more about different games. So I did learn a couple more games, which was nice. I wish that the session was a little longer so we could get a little bit more time to play and dive a little bit more into the interpersonal communications, like, because the description was a little bit more about like learning and communication better with homeless awareness. So I felt like I would have liked a little bit more of that. But I thought it was great. And I thought I was really glad I came, and thank you for the invitation, Aaron. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I personally liked, oh, I'm sorry, Susan, go ahead.
It's okay. I honestly don't even know why I was here. I have no idea how I ended up in this.
You just click a link. You shouldn't do that.
I don't know. I don't know. An invitation came from somewhere, and I thought that sounds interesting. But then when I went back to look at what it was about, I couldn't find anything anywhere, so I had no clue what I was doing. But it was really, really interesting, very eye-opening. And I wish I could learn a lot more about this and use a lot of this in our community engagement meetings. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. And it was wonderful to be in a Zoom meeting where you're actually engaged and you're not multitasking, because believe me, I could do a lot of multitasking when I'm in a Zoom meeting. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you.
That made me think of a I wish part. And I think this will resonate with like Derek and Jason who host these kind of things, but I wish I didn't have to host sometimes, because I was over here like taking notes to include that in my email or attending to chat or doing XYZ. So I think there was one point, James, where you wanted to hand me the ball and I was unaware because I was off adding something to my notes or something like that. So I wish I'd be able to be fully present as opposed to just being the host and being partially there.
Cool. Understandable. Thank you.
Relatable, Aaron. Relatable.
I have no idea what you're talking about. No, I was taking so many notes. I was only kidding to the beginning that I was taking notes, but I was taking a lot of notes, and I do get distracted in my note taking sometimes and miss stuff. So I wish I was, but that's on me. I'm just so used to trying to catch every bit of it. I miss stuff.
Oh,
I'm
good.
excited to count my no's. I said no initially, but that was definitely a joke. I am excited to actually think about that and be more mindful about how often I say no, as opposed to yes anding life, because I was thinking about it too, and I tend to be a devil's advocate a lot of the time, and sometimes a contrarian. But like trying to look at different sides, different perspectives, because I deal in food systems. I'm always doing systems thinking and thinking about all the impacts of everything and how this affects that. And so my brain kind of just sometimes goes to the negative, also the positive, but often the negative. So I'll be counting my no's and trying to reframe that.
Sometimes it's easier to go to the negative space. Yeah. Jason.
That's super relatable, Aaron. When I had my career as a programmer, my job was to find failure points. And I would tell my coworkers, no, I am an optimist. And they would laugh. They're like, there's no way. You're always telling us how stuff's going to break. And I was like, no, but that's the optimistic perspective, as I want it to be successful. So I'm going to work around those issues or find those ahead of time so that it is successful. And I totally get the whole systems thinking and of like, how is this going to impact 6 steps down the road? And I think you're kind of stuck. It seemed, I don't consider that negative. Maybe I'm wrong, but to me, that's the more optimistic view, is you're setting yourself up for success by looking further down the road, in my mind. I wonder how many times I say no in a day. I just did there. I lost count already. I'm going to need one of those little ticker things, this little clicker.
Melanie.
So yeah, I enjoyed the interaction part because nowadays it is very difficult for a lot of people. They don't pay attention. They don't listen. You know, it's that, hi, how are you? And you pass each other and you didn't hear anything what the other person said. So it did, in fact, get us more in tune to listening to all different things, you know, and paying attention, which is what people don't do. I probably maybe should have read the email or the text closer because I check those things while I'm at work, and which I told you I'm at. I do home health care for an elderly gentleman. So I don't always sit and read specific. I kind of scan, and I saw the homeless and food awareness aspect. And that instantly is what caught my attention, because when I had said in that one interactive part of the game where I said, oh, that would be good for me because I had been homeless in my motorhome for the past 4 months. That wasn't a joke. I didn't make that up. I really, truly have been. And so I have been merging into the food ministry at my church. And I'm going to be broaching with my pastor. He owns the property there about possibly building a very small home for maybe up to 4 women at a time to get us off of the streets and give us that boost that we need to get going to better ourselves, because it isn't out there. And I was fortunate. Nothing happened to me while I was out there, but there were some circumstances that were quite scary. You know, there was gunfire behind me in my motorhome. I didn't have electricity, running water for the whole time I was out there, you know, and lived off spaghetti and meatballs out of a can and beef jerky because it didn't have to be refrigerated, you know, which is fine. I did what I had to do. But I bettered myself. But what started with that was somebody giving me a boost that had some confidence in me. And that boost got me my job, which now I'm going to be moving back into special education again and be a teacher's aide. So, you know, it's, thank you. It's, like I said, once again, I give a 50-page preface for a 5-page manuscript, if you could figure that one out.
Relatable.
So what I'm trying to, and that's copyrighted too, by the way. You guys can't take that one. No, I'm just kidding. So what I'm trying to actually get it to the point is that that I was thinking that maybe this was going to be more so like give me some direction by listening on what I could do to implement in what I'm going to be working at now in my own personal thing with trying to help people, especially women in particular. Because the homeless situation is getting really honestly out of control, especially in our area. Mm-hmm. I mean, Aaron, I don't know how much you pay attention, but if you're out and about, you'll see motorhomes, trailers, campers in every parking lot around here. All of the motorhome parks are full. I was on the wait list for like 3 of them. Because everyone's losing their homes, you know, so that's what they're having to go to. And then the motorhome parks are now getting like real restrictive, where your vehicle can't be 10 years and older because they don't want their places looking like dumps. And so, you know, like that's something that now, because I've lived and experienced it, and I know that other people can hear me, they're not going to think I'm talking down to them, you know, they're going to, you know what I mean? I want to try to help build us back up and get us out of that, because, you know, it's starting to look really kind of slummy around here. It really, truly is. And people need help. So that was my thing.
Thank you for elevating that.
I have to go. I'm so glad I was came to this, and I'm glad I hung out to listen to what Melanie had to say. I'm really glad. Thank you, Melanie. But I have to go. I have a workshop to run it in about an hour, and I have some stuff to take care of. So thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
Hi, Derek.
Thank you, Derek.
Bye.
In a bit.
I'll see you in a bit, Derek.
Bye.
Yeah, and thank you, Melanie, for sharing your story. I appreciate that, as we all do. And we're glad to see that you're being strong and continuing to thrive and moving forward and elevating. So I do want to make sure that I'm respectful of everybody's time, because we're definitely well over the advertised time of 30 minutes.
Wow, no.
But I want to say thank you to Aaron once again for reaching out to me and having the opportunity to share just a glimpse of a few of the things that I've had the ability of, things that, you know, at a certain point I realize are not just part of what I do and what I believe is a craft. It's part of who I am. And then the more you do this, the more it become a core value, your own personal core value of what you do, and you start living these values of those concepts of improv, whether it's the connectivity, the listening, the empathy, being adaptive, being supportive, being accepting and building and moving on with the team, being collaborative and inspired and having fun. So hopefully all of you can continue to live those values and incorporate those into what you do. So I want to say thank you again for having me. And hopefully we had a little bit of fun and all those promises, discovering, participating, and having fun. I think we all did at some point in time. So that's awesome. Love to deliver on those promises. And I hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving and we continue to find gratitude and be thankful for what we have and what we do and who we can support. So thank you so much, everyone. And thank you again, Aaron, for the opportunity.
Thank you, James, for giving us
Thank you.
the wealth of knowledge.
Oh, you're very welcome. I don't know if it's wealth, but it's something.
It's a wealth of knowledge, isn't it? An abundance of knowledge.
Thank you. Thank
He
you.
was trying to be humble. Let him be humble.
Yeah. I have my own story of humility, but I'm not going to let that be recorded. That's for another time because I have had one. So,
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Aaron. See you soon.
Do you want me to cut that part out, Melanie?
Oh, absolutely not. No, I want my story to help people. And so that way they're not ashamed because, that's been a big issue too, that something I'm real big with, like when I go to AA meetings, things like that, they don't want to believe and recognize that a good portion of us are dual diagnosis, and they would try to shut me up when I would share. And I'm like, no. You guys are, there's 85% of us have these issues also. There's underlying issues here. And so I had women would come up to me after meetings and tell me, thank you for sharing that because I was embarrassed and I didn't want to talk about it. So I for lack of better terminology, I have no shame in my game. If anybody ever wants to come and talk to me, ask me questions, or just hear my story or anything, because they don't know or they're unsure, they think, well, maybe she might know something I don't know or whatever. I am full for it, so absolutely, yeah, put it, if I could help one person, it makes me feel good. Like I put on that how can I help, that I was doing cake, that pink strawberry cake that day with lunch, and some lady came in. I was so excited. She came in, and because our numbers that we feed from 11 to 1 has really dwindled because of COVID. And so like the day before we had no one. That day I had one person. And then I put that post and I asked Tukey on how can I help to please bump it up so it would go. She said, sure, no problem, Melanie. Bam, it went through. And all of a sudden I hear, hello. And I'm like at the back door, right? And I said, come on in. I was so excited that I got to give out food to 2 people. It's 2 people, but it didn't matter. You know what I mean? Like it made me feel so good that I could give some lunch to somebody, because that place used to feed me. So it's like, you know what I mean? That's what I want to do. So, so like I said, yeah, please leave anything in there. If anybody asks questions, if they want my number, I don't care. You can get my number out, whatever, or my Facebook, anything. I want to help. That's what I want to do. So
I think we should end it there because that was beautiful.
Okay.
I want to help. That was beautiful. Thank you. And let me know if I can help you too.
All right. Okay. All right. So I will see you probably on Saturday or something.
Sounds great. See you then.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye.